Hey babe, you know, my friends have always had their own opinions about you. They would tell me what they saw in you, the things they admired, and the things they found questionable. Their observations ran the full spectrum, from praising your confidence or thoughtfulness to warning me about aspects of your personality that didn't always sit right with them. I listened to all of it, to every word they had to say, because I trust my friends and value their perspectives. Yet, even with their warnings and insights, I knew I needed to see things for myself. I realized that no matter how much I might rely on what they told me, I wouldn't get the real truth until I experienced you as you truly are, with my own eyes and heart. After all, my friends could only offer their outside perceptions, shaped by their own experiences and viewpoints. And while I appreciate their concern, at the end of the day, you and I share a connection that goes beyond the surface. Still, the seeds were planted. Their comments lingered in my mind, and I couldn't help but file away everything they'd mentioned, both the good and the not so great. Life sometimes works in interesting ways. The more someone tells you to watch out or be careful, the more you secretly find yourself watching. So, I began paying attention to you a bit more closely. I wanted to find out firsthand whether my friends were correct in their assessments. Some days, I noticed little things that might confirm what they said, and other days I discovered the exact opposite, glimpses of your kindness that they had missed. Over time, however, you showed me something genuine, something I hadn't entirely expected. In the moments that truly mattered, you revealed a side of yourself that ran deeper than any rumor or first impression. That's the thing about people. Sometimes we only see the surface, or we notice them at moments when they're stressed or distracted, which can distort our view. But we can also catch them in those unguarded instants when sincerity shines through without any filters. That is how I began to see you in a different light. I want to be absolutely clear. This conversation is not about judging you, labeling you, or placing blame for anything that might have happened in the past. Instead, it's about recognizing what your actions have revealed to me over time. My friends' opinions were never going to define you in my eyes. However, they did point to aspects of your character that I might have otherwise overlooked or misunderstood without their prompt. Once I opened my heart to seeing you more completely, I realized that there is so much more to who you are than what any quick assessment could capture. What amazed me the most is how consistent you have been in showing up for me. It's one thing to say you care, to promise that you'll be there in times of need, but it's another to prove it through small, everyday gestures. When I think back to all the moments where I felt alone or anxious, you were there. No hesitation, no showboating. You were just quietly present, reassuring me in ways that words alone can't. This is something intangible and precious, something many of us search for and rarely find. My friends had a view of you that was incomplete. They saw certain behaviors and heard certain words and drew conclusions from them. Maybe they saw you on a bad day, or perhaps they heard stories about you from other people who didn't know you as I do. It's possible that they looked at surface level details and missed the depths. But that's human nature, isn't it? We are all prone to snap judgments. We base our impressions on interactions that may not show the whole story. And while there might be kernels of truth in what my friends saw, they did not see the side of you that I have come to know over the weeks and months we've spent time together. I can't fault them for wanting me to be safe. They care about me and don't want me to get hurt. The complicated part, of course, is discerning when to accept their cautionary tales and when to trust my own heart. In the end, I realize that no matter how close we are to our friends, they can't fully inhabit the emotional space we share with someone else. It's like looking at a painting through a window. You can get some idea of what it looks like, but until you're standing in front of it, up close, taking in every detail, you can't truly understand. So here we are. I've been watching you, observing how you handle stress, how you talk about the future, and how you act around people you respect versus those you might not like as much. I've noticed how your tone changes when you're genuinely concerned, how you lean in when you want to comfort me, and how you pull back when you sense I need space. These are subtle things that outsiders might not catch. They are the fabric of a person's real character, sewn together by threads of daily compassion and empathy. I wanted to wait until I was sure, until I had collected enough experiences, moments, and honest conversations. Now, I feel I have a fuller picture, and that picture includes your strengths, your vulnerabilities, and the traits that I've come to see as defining who you are. There are, of course, moments when you can be distant or moody, times when you retreat into your own head and speak less. But those moments don't negate the gentleness I've seen in you. Instead, they show me you're human, that you have your own burdens and days when you don't feel like talking. It all makes you more genuine in my eyes. I've learned that love, or even deep appreciation, doesn't necessarily bloom from perfection. More often, it blossoms when we see someone for their true self and decide that all those characteristics, even the flaws, are worth loving. If I could go back and reassure my worried friends, I'd tell them that I appreciate their concern, but that I've come to see another side of you. A side that's patient when I need extra time to process things, a side that's determined when life tries to knock us down, and a side that's incredibly tender in those quiet, intimate spaces where you hold me and make me feel safe. So many times, we underestimate how meaningful it is to be truly seen. You don't just listen to me. You pay attention in a way that shows you genuinely care. You ask how I'm doing, and then you ask a second time when you sense the first answer might not be the whole story. You remember small details, like which colors lift my mood or how I take my coffee on a particularly stressful day. You do this with grace and without expectation of getting anything in return. That's a rare gift in a world that can sometimes feel transactional. I also respect that you give me space to evolve. You're not trying to keep me exactly as I am today. You encourage me to grow, to explore, to dream bigger. That kind of support is priceless. It's the difference between feeling stifled in a relationship and feeling nourished. Believe me, I recognize how lucky I am to have someone who sees beyond their own needs. That selflessness is something many of us crave, but never find. You're not perfect, and I'm not perfect either. We've both had disagreements, moments where we didn't see eye to eye, times when we were both too stubborn to back down. But somehow, you continually show me that you're willing to work through any rough patches, that you won't just walk away when things get complicated or messy. That action speaks volumes, far louder than any declarations of devotion. It's in those tense, fragile moments that true colors shine the brightest. Let me be clear. I'm not blindly ignoring any faults you might have, nor am I glossing over the times we've clashed. I know that real relationships involve compromise, communication, and sometimes uncomfortable honesty. But I also know that, time after time, you've proven you're someone worth fighting for. You've displayed a kindness and level of commitment that resonates deeply with me. When life has thrown me curveballs, you've been there cheering me on, not just in words, but through tangible support, whether that's a comforting hug, practical help, or a calm presence that reminds me I'm not alone. So I ask you now, please keep doing what you're doing. Keep allowing your compassionate side to shine. Keep showing up when it matters, especially in those little day-to-day moments that might seem insignificant to the rest of the world but mean the world to me. Please don't ever feel pressure to change the core of who you are. If you find ways to grow and improve, that's beautiful. But don't lose the spirit of empathy, loyalty, and warmth that drew me to you in the first place. Life has many twists and turns, and we can't predict what challenges we'll face in the future. There will be times when both of us might feel lost or doubtful. In those moments, it's easy to revert to old fears or to cling to negative impressions. But as long as you remain the person who's shown me this unwavering gentleness and resilience, I know we can navigate anything together. You've become this reassuring presence in my life, one that's infinitely valuable. And I want you to fully know that my friends' initial reservations or judgments don't define how I view you. Yes, they saw some parts of you that are real, but they're not all of you. You are more complex, more layered, and more nuanced than any single anecdote or impression could ever convey. I'm grateful that I gave myself the chance to truly see you as you are. If I had just taken their word for it, I might have missed out on something genuinely special. Every day, I find new reasons to appreciate the deeper aspects of your character. Maybe it's the way you notice if I'm quieter than usual, or the way you seem to anticipate when I could use a little encouragement. Each of these moments might seem insignificant on its own, but strung together, they form a powerful testament to the person you really are. I wish I could perfectly capture in words how safe, loved, and understood you make me feel. It's not something I want to take for granted. Relationships thrive on reciprocal efforts, and I hope you know that I see you, I cherish you, and I admire all the little things you do. My friends, with their well meaning advice, were looking out for me. But my heart and my experiences with you tell me something beyond their initial conclusions. You're worth the curiosity, worth the patience, and definitely worth the time it took to see the real you. So, once again, I want to say, please don't change. Stay true to the qualities that make you such a bright light in my life. Your sincerity, your willingness to be there for me, even when it's not convenient, and your steady presence give me a sense of security I haven't always felt before. With you, I feel less anxious about tomorrow, more hopeful about new possibilities, and more assured that I am not alone in facing whatever life brings my way. If in the future any doubts rear their heads, whether coming from my friends or from my own insecurities, I'm going to look back on what I've experienced with you and remember why I trust you. I'll recall the quiet moments you've been there, the laughter we've shared, the tears you've gently wiped away, and the countless times you asked, "Are you okay?" and waited patiently for a real answer. That is what convinces me of your genuine character. That is why I'm here, reaching out with all this in my heart, hoping you understand how deeply you've affected me. I know the idea of bearing your soul can be scary. We all fear rejection on some level, but you've taken those risks, opened yourself up, and shown me a version of you that is heartfelt and true. I value that immensely. Nothing is more precious than sincerity in a world that often values surfaces and appearances. In closing, I want you to remember that while my friends' opinions might have been partially correct about some surface traits, there is so much more to you that they didn't see. You have proven to me, over and over again, that you truly care, and your actions consistently back up your words. You've stepped up for me, not just in grand gestures, but in life's daily, ordinary moments. And that, in my eyes, is what makes you remarkable. So thank you for being who you are. Thank you for choosing to show me a deeper truth than any rumor or warning could convey. I'm glad I decided to discover your heart for myself rather than rely on what others saw from a distance. And I hope, more than anything, that you never lose that genuine spirit. Stay as you are, because who you are is already so much more than enough. With all my love and gratitude, your name,